Tom walked through the thick jungle of planet Varnic. The sky was dark green, and strange blue plants glowed softly all around him. It was hot and quiet, with only the sound of buzzing insects and the crunch of leaves under his boots. He held a scanner in one hand and a small bag in the other. He was here to collect plant samples for the science team back at the base. Tom was part of the human colony mission on Varnic. The planet was wild and full of strange life, but it also had many resources Earth needed. His job was not exciting, just walking, picking, and recording. But Tom liked being alone. The quiet gave him peace. Suddenly, a loud sound cut through the silence. It was a scream. Not a human scream. It was high, sharp, and full of fear. Tom stopped. His heart beat faster. Another scream followed, louder and more desperate. He looked around. He was far from camp. No one else should be here. But something was in trouble. Tom didn't think. He dropped the scanner, gripped his small shock blaster, and ran toward the sound. Branches hit his face as he pushed through the jungle. He jumped over roots and ducked under hanging vines. The screams came again, mixed now with low growls. The growls were deep and angry, like wild animals, ready to strike. Tom ran faster. After a minute, he broke through into a small clearing. His eyes widened. A young alien girl stood at the edge of a cliff wall. Her back was pressed against the rock. Her short blue hair was messy, her pale skin scratched. She wore a torn gray outfit. Her big dark eyes were full of fear. 3 large creatures slowly moved toward her. They were beast-like, with thick muscles, long tails, and mouths full of sharp teeth. Their skin was rough and dark green, and their eyes glowed red. They looked ready to attack. Tom didn't wait. He raised his blaster and fired at the nearest beast. A bolt of light hit its side, and the creature roared in pain. It turned and looked at him. All 3 beasts now faced Tom. "Come on," Tom shouted, trying to make himself look big. "Leave her alone." One beast charged at him. Tom fired again. The bolt hit its shoulder. It stumbled but kept coming. Tom jumped to the side as the beast snapped its jaws where he had stood. He rolled, stood up fast, and fired again. The second beast turned back toward the alien girl. She picked up a rock and threw it, hitting its head. The creature hissed in anger, but stopped. Tom kept firing, trying to stay between the beasts and the girl. The creatures didn't seem afraid, but they were confused. They weren't used to prey that fought back. Finally, after more shots and loud shouting, the beasts backed away. One limped, another growled low. Then, slowly, they turned and disappeared into the jungle shadows. Tom breathed hard. His arms shook. His clothes were torn from branches, and he had a small cut on his cheek. But he was alive. The girl stood still, staring at him. "It's okay," Tom said, lowering his blaster. "They're gone." The girl didn't speak. He stepped closer and held out a water bottle. She looked at it, then slowly took it. She drank, shaking hands, and then sat down on the ground. Tom sat beside her. "My name is Tom," he said, speaking slowly and clearly. "I'm human. I won't hurt you." The girl looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, in soft, broken words, "Rena." "Name, Rena?" Tom smiled gently. "Nice to meet you." "Rena," she pointed to the forest. "Bad hunters," she said. "Many." Tom's face became serious. "There are more of those beasts." Rena shook her head. "Not beasts, others. Worse." Tom didn't understand, but he knew she was scared. "Come with me," he said. "My camp is nearby. It's safe." Rena looked unsure. Tom stood and offered his hand. She hesitated, then took it. Together, they walked through the jungle, back toward his small camp. As they walked, Tom kept looking around. The forest felt darker now. Something was watching. But he didn't let go of Rena's hand. She was alone, lost, and frightened, and Tom had made a choice. He would protect her. No matter what. Tom and Rena moved through the thick jungle carefully. Tom stayed in front, watching the path. Rena followed close behind. Her steps were light, but she looked tired. Her eyes moved quickly, scanning the trees and shadows. The jungle was quiet. Now, No more screams, no growls. But that didn't make Tom feel safe. He felt like something still watched them from far away. After walking for almost 20 minutes, they reached Tom's small camp. It was hidden between two large rocks and covered with leaves and netting. A small solar tent stood in the center, with a light glowing on top. Next to it was a table with gear, a food box, and a comm unit. Tom pulled back the cover and helped Rena inside the tent. She sat down slowly and leaned against the wall. Her eyes looked around the small space. It's not much, Tom said, but it's safe. Rena nodded quietly. Tom opened the first aid kit and brought out some healing cream. This will help with the scratches, he said. He handed it to her, and she took it with shaky hands. After a moment of silence, Tom asked, "Where are you from, Rena?" She looked up, confused by the words. Tom repeated the question slower. She pointed up to the sky. "Far, far away. Ship a broken fall." "You crashed?" Tom asked. Rena nodded. "Hide, hunters. Follow." Tom's eyes narrowed. "Those beasts?" She shook her head. "Not beasts, people. Bad ones. They want me. Take me." Tom didn't understand everything, but he understood enough. She had escaped from someone. Maybe pirates, maybe slavers. Whoever they were dangerous, and now she was alone. Tom gave her a protein bar and some water. She ate slowly, still quiet. "I'll help you," Tom said. "You're safe now." She looked at him and said softly, "Thank you." The tent lights dimmed as night fell. The jungle outside made strange sounds. Insects buzzed, leaves rustled, and now and then something howled in the distance. Tom sat at the camp table, checking his blaster and tools. He tried to send a signal to the colony base, but the screen blinked red dot. Signal blocked. "No connection. That's not good," Tom muttered. He looked at Rena, who had curled up in the corner of the tent, trying to sleep. Suddenly, he heard a noise outside. Snap. Tom froze. He grabbed the blaster and moved to the tent flap. Another sound. A slow growl. Tom peeked outside. Shapes moved between the trees. Red eyes flashed. "They're back," he whispered. He rushed to Rena. "Wake up. We have to move." Rena opened her eyes, fear returning to her face. Tom grabbed a flashlight and the energy shield device Rena had dropped earlier. He gave it to her. "Can you use this?" Rena took it and nodded. She pressed the side, and a small glowing shield formed around her. Tom turned on the flashlight and shined it outside. Two of the beasts were circling the camp. One jumped forward and hit the edge of the tent, making it shake. Tom fired a warning shot. The light bolt hit the ground, and the creature backed off, growling louder. Rena held the shield tight, her eyes wide with fear. Tom knew they couldn't stay in the tent. The beasts were testing them. If more came, the camp would not hold. "We need to scare them off," Tom said. He picked up a flare from his bag and lit it. A bright red light burst out, filling the area with a glow. The creatures stepped back, growling and hissing. Tom threw the flare toward the trees. The sudden flash scared the beasts. They backed away slowly, their red eyes blinking. Then, just like before, they vanished into the jungle. Tom waited, heart pounding. The jungle became quiet again. He let out a long breath. Rena turned off the shield and sat back down. "They're hunting us," Tom said. "Or maybe just you." Rena looked away. "Always follow. Since escape." "From where?" She closed her eyes. "Big ship. Not mine. Prison. I run. Crash here." Tom sat beside her. "Why were you in prison?" "I don't know," she said. "They take people, different kinds, for something." Tom's face grew serious. If what she said was true, then someone out there was capturing aliens for dark reasons. And now one of their prisoners had escaped, and he was helping her. "I'll get you to the colony," Tom said. "They'll protect you." "But signal?" Rena asked. "Blocked," Tom said. "But there's an old tower northeast from here. I saw it when we landed. I think it still works. We can try to send a message from there." Rena nodded slowly. "We go in the morning," Tom said. "We need rest." The two lay in the small tent, side by side. Listening to the quiet jungle. Tom didn't sleep much. He kept one hand on the blaster, ready. He had saved a stranger from savage beasts now. He had a choice: help her reach safety or leave her and stay safe himself. But in his heart, Tom already knew he would help her, whatever the cost. The morning light came slowly through the thick leaves above. The jungle looked quiet, but Tom knew danger still waited. He stepped outside the tent with his blaster in hand. The ground was still damp from the night. He checked around the camp. There were claw marks on a rock nearby. The beasts had been close. Too close. Inside the tent, Rena sat up and looked at him. Her short blue hair was messy, and her face looked tired, but she was awake, alert, and ready to move. Tom gave her some food and water. Eat quickly, he said. We leave soon. Rena nodded and took small bites. Tom packed up the supplies. He put the blaster in his belt and took a small map from his bag. He pointed to a spot on the screen. This is the signal tower, he told Rena. It's old, but it might still work. It's about a few hours from here. We'll go through the lower path, less open, but safer. Rena leaned forward and studied the map. Hunters? She asked. They might be watching, Tom said. We'll move fast and quiet. After breakfast, they left the camp. Tom erased the signs of their camp as best as he could. Then they walked through the jungle, following a narrow trail. The forest was full of strange sounds, chirps, clicks, and faraway calls. The plants were big and colorful. Some glowed. Some moved when touched. Rena stayed close to Tom. She didn't speak much, but her eyes scanned the trees often. Tom looked at her and asked, You ever fight before? Rena shook her head. Only run. Tom smiled a little. You were brave back there with the rock. That helped. She looked at him with a small smile. You helped first, after 2 hours. They reached a stream. The water was clear and cool. Tom knelt down and filled a bottle. Suddenly, Rena touched his arm. Quiet, she whispered. Tom froze. Across the stream, a shadow moved. They both hid behind a rock. Then they saw it, a black armored figure, tall and wide, with a helmet that covered its face. It carried a long energy weapon and scanned the area with a blinking device. Rena's hands shook. Hunter, she whispered. Tom held her hand gently. We stay low. Wait till he leaves. They stayed hidden for 10 long minutes. The hunter finally moved deeper into the jungle, away from them. When it was gone, Tom let out a breath. That was close. Rena looked afraid. More coming. Maybe, Tom said. We need to move faster. They crossed the stream and walked uphill through thick trees. The trail became harder, filled with vines and tall roots. Rena tripped once, and Tom helped her up. We're close now, he said. Another hour, maybe less. But soon the trail ended at a steep hill. They had to climb. Tom helped Rena up the rocks. She was light and careful. He followed, keeping his eyes on the trees. Halfway up, he stopped. He heard a sound metal on rock. Another hunter. Keep going, he told Rena. Don't stop. She nodded and climbed faster. Tom turned and saw the hunter at the base of the hill. Looking up, it raised its weapon. Tom fired first. His shot hit the rocks near the hunter, causing dust and small stones to fall. The hunter stepped back. Tom fired again, hitting the hunter's shoulder. Sparks flew. The hunter growled and aimed, but Tom was already moving up the hill. Rena reached the top and helped pull Tom up. They ran into the trees. The jungle ahead was thick but flat, and in the distance, they saw it, a tall, old metal tower covered in vines. A light blinked weakly at the top. The signal tower, Tom said. We made it, but there was no time to rest. Behind them, the hunter was coming fast. They reached the tower and went inside. The inside was dark and dusty. Broken screens and old wires hung from the walls. Tom looked around. We need the control panel. Rena found it behind a metal door. The screen was cracked, but the buttons still worked. Tom wiped the dust and pressed the power button. The screen blinked once, then again. Then it came to life. System ready. Weak signal detected. Yes? Tom shouted. Rena smiled. Tom typed quickly. Message. Human colony base, this is Tom. Alien girl rescued. Being chased by armed attackers. Need help. Location marked. Please respond. He pressed send. The screen blinked. Message sent. Tom sighed with relief. But then, the tower shook. A loud crash came from outside. The hunter had arrived. Tom looked at Rena. Stay behind me. The door burst open. The hunter stepped in. Weapon ready. Tom fired. The shot hit the hunter's chest, but its armor held. It fired back. The blast hit the wall near Tom, spraying sparks. Tom ducked. Fired again. This time, the blast hit the hunter's leg. It stumbled. Rena picked up a metal bar and threw it at the hunter's head. It hit the helmet, just enough to distract it. Tom fired once more straight at the weapon. The gun exploded in the hunter's hands. The hunter growled, stepped back, then turned and ran. Tom didn't chase. He dropped to the floor, breathing hard. You? Okay? He asked Rena. She nodded. You? I'm fine. He said. The screen blinked again. Reply received. Rescue team on way. Hold position. Tom smiled. Help is coming. Rena looked out the window, watching the sky. But both of them knew it wasn't over yet. The hunters would come again. And this time, they might not be alone. Tom sat against the tower wall, watching the blinking screen. The message from the colony base had come in just minutes ago. Help was on the way. But they didn't say how long it would take. Maybe an hour. Maybe more. Outside the old signal tower, the jungle was quiet again, but not peaceful. Tom had fought off the hunter, but he knew more were coming. That one had probably called for backup. Rena stood near the window, looking out. Her small hands held the metal bar tightly. She didn't speak, but her eyes were full of worry. Tom stood up slowly. We need to prepare. This place won't hold for long. Rena nodded. We fight? Tom looked around the tower. The door was broken. The walls were thin. The only strong part was the control room, which was up a narrow staircase. We can hold the top floor, Tom said. If we stay up there, we can defend the stairs. Maybe delay them until help comes. Rena followed him upstairs. The control room was dusty, but the walls were thicker. There was a metal table, some broken chairs, and old tools. They pushed the table across the stairs. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Tom checked his blaster. It had a few shots left. Not enough, he whispered. Rena took out her small alien device, the energy shield tool. She looked at it, pressed a button, and a weak blue glow appeared. Still works, she said softly. But only once. Tom nodded. Use it when they get too close. He looked out the window. A strange wind moved through the trees. Then he saw them, for black-armored hunters walking through the jungle. They moved slowly, scanning everything with their glowing visors. They're here, Tom said. Rena's hands tightened around the metal bar. The hunters reached the base of the tower. They didn't rush in. They surrounded it. One pointed a device at the top of the tower. Tom quickly moved back from the window. They're scanning, he said. A loud voice echoed from below. It was cold and robotic. Give up the girl. We do not want you, only her. Rena looked at Tom, her face pale. He shook his head. I'm not giving you to them. The voice came again. She is not yours. She belongs to us. Tom shouted back. She's not a thing. She's free now. There was silence, then footsteps. They were coming in. Tom took position behind the table. Rena stood beside him, holding her shield device. The first hunter appeared at the top of the stairs. Tom fired. The bolt hit the helmet. The hunter stumbled but didn't fall. Rena activated the shield. A blue wall appeared between them and the hunter. The creature fired its weapon. The shot hit the shield and bounced off, lighting up the room. Tom fired again. This time the bolt hit the hunter's weapon, damaging it. The hunter growled and stepped back. Then some more came up the stairs. Tom knew they couldn't hold much longer. Rena threw the metal bar. It hit one hunter's arm, causing it to drop its blaster. Tom fired one last shot. The blaster made a clicking sound. Empty. He picked up a chair and threw it down the stairs. The hunters stopped. Suddenly, a loud sound came from outside. Engines. Then A flash of bright light filled the sky. Tom rushed to the window. 3 human dropships were landing in the clearing. Soldiers in silver armor jumped out. Drones flew above them. "They're here," Tom shouted. The hunters turned and ran down the stairs. They fired back, trying to slow the humans. Gunfire filled the jungle. Energy blasts lit up the trees. Tom and Rena watched from the top of the tower. The human soldiers moved fast. Their weapons were stronger. The drones flew in circles, shooting beams at the hunters. Within minutes, the hunters were down. One ran into the forest, but a drone followed. The last hunter tried to escape, but a soldier tackled him and knocked him out. The fight was over. Tom and Rena came down the stairs slowly. A tall human soldier walked toward them. His helmet opened, showing an older man with sharp eyes and a calm face. "You must be Tom," the man said. Tom nodded. "And this is Rena." The man looked at Rena. "We got your message. You did the right thing." "Thank you," Tom said. "They were chasing her. She was running from them." "We know," the soldier said. "We've seen these hunters before. They work for a group that takes aliens from many worlds. We're tracking them." Rena stepped closer. "Safe now?" "Yes," the soldier said kindly. "You're safe now." The soldier spoke into his radio. "We've secured the girl. Bring the med team, soon." Other humans came with medical kits. They checked Rena and Tom, cleaned their wounds, and gave them water. A medic looked at Tom. "You saved her life. That's not something we'll forget." Tom smiled, tired but proud. He looked at Rena. She smiled too, a small, quiet smile but full of hope. The sun rose higher in the sky. The tower stood tall behind them. The forest, though still wild and full of danger, felt a little less dark. They were safe. But Tom knew something. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The sun was high in the sky as the human dropships flew over the jungle. Inside one of them, Tom sat beside Rena. They were quiet, both tired from the long night and the fight. Soldiers round them were checking gear, talking softly, or watching the jungle through the windows. Rena held a warm drink in her hands. She looked calm now, but Tom could see the questions in her eyes. He gave her a small smile and said, "We're going home." She looked at him. "You're home." Tom nodded. "The colony base. You'll be safe there." The soldier from earlier, the one with sharp eyes and a calm voice, walked over. His name was Commander Dale. He sat across from Tom and said, "We ran scans after the fight, found wreckage from a ship deep in the forest. Must be the one she crashed in." Rena looked down. "My ship gone?" "Yes," Dale said gently. "But we found something else, a hidden signal beacon." "Not hers. Someone was watching this area before she came." Tom leaned forward. "The hunters? Maybe." Dale said, "Or their bosses. We think they were setting up something big. You stepping in, rescuing her changed their plans." Tom looked at Rena. "You said they take people. For what?" Rena hesitated, then said, "They take for money, to sell, to test many kinds of aliens. Some vanish, some never come back." Commander Dale's face grew serious. "We've heard rumors like that. Now we have proof." Tom asked, "What happens to her now?" "She'll be safe," Dale replied. "We'll give her shelter. Maybe help find her people if we can." Rena looked at Tom, then at Dale. "Can Tom stay?" Tom blinked. He hadn't expected that. Dale smiled. "That's up to him." Tom looked out the window. The colony base was now in view. It was large, with tall metal walls, solar towers, and many ships parked around it. It looked strong and safe. He turned to Rena. "Yes, I'll stay." Rena's face lit up with a soft smile. Later that day, they stood inside the medical center. Doctors checked Rena's health. Her cuts were cleaned, and she was given fresh clothes, simple but warm. Tom sat on a bench nearby. A nurse wrapped a bandage around his arm. "You did well out there," she said kindly. "Brave and lucky." Tom gave a tired smile. "I just followed the screams." The nurse laughed softly. "Most people run the other way." After the checkups, Commander Dale met them outside. "There's something you should see," he said. He led them to a large screen in the command room. A map of nearby space appeared. Red dots glowed across it. These are known attacks. Dale said, ships taken, signals lost, most ignored until now. He pointed to a blinking dot near Varnock. This is where we found Rena. Tom asked, you think the same group did all of this? We do, Dale said. We've called a meeting with other colonies. If they agree, we'll start hunting them. Rena stepped closer. There are many, strong. Yes, Dale said. But now we have something they didn't expect. He looked at Tom. People like you? Tom blinked. Me? Dale nodded. You didn't run. You helped someone you didn't know. You fought, and you survived. That means something. Tom didn't know what to say. Rena touched his hand. You are not just a helper. You are a protector. In the days that followed, Rena stayed in the colony's guest quarters. She spent her time learning human words, watching the stars from the garden, and drawing pictures of her lost world. Tom visited her every day. They talked, laughed, and sometimes sat in silence, just watching the sky. One evening, Rena gave Tom a small box. For you, she said. Inside was the energy shield device. It had been repaired and polished. Tom looked at it. I thought this was yours. She smiled. Now it is yours. Tom placed it gently in his bag. Thank you. Commander Dale visited them later that week. We've received a message. He said, it's not from Earth. It's from another system. They say they know her people. Rena stood up fast. My home, maybe, Dale said. A team is preparing to go check. You can go with them, if you want. Rena looked at Tom, then at the stars. She was silent for a long moment. Then she said, not yet. I stay here. For now. Tom smiled. Dale nodded. All right, you're welcome here as long as you want. That night, Tom sat outside the colony wall, watching the forest. The stars above were bright and endless. Rena joined him, sitting on the grass. Do you miss your world? Tom asked. Yes, she said softly. But this place, it's not bad. Tom chuckled. No, it's not. They sat quietly for a while. Then Rena asked, will they come again? Tom looked at the trees. Maybe, but we'll be ready. She nodded. Together. Tom smiled and said, together. And above them, the stars watched quietly. The story wasn't over. But for now, they had peace. 3 weeks passed. Rena had become a quiet part of life in the human colony. People were used to seeing her walking near the gardens, helping in the research lab, or talking with Tom near the wall in the evenings. Tom felt like everything had calmed down. The hunters hadn't returned. The colony stayed alert, but no danger had shown up. But deep inside, Tom knew this peace wouldn't last forever. One morning, while Tom was checking sensor lines along the forest edge, a message came through his communicator. Tom, report to the command room, urgent. He ran back quickly. When he entered, Commander Dale was standing by a large screen. Several other officers were there too. The screen showed a small alien ship floating in space. A red signal blinked from it. We picked up a distress call from a scout ship, Dale said. It's not human. It's from Rena's people. Tom's eyes widened. Her people? Yes. They've been searching for survivors. The message is old, but it's real. Did they say her name? No, Dale said. But the message mentioned a group that escaped a prison ship. Rena might be one of them. Tom felt something in his chest, a mix of hope and worry. Where is the ship now? Orbiting a nearby moon. No power. No signal now. But we're sending a team. Tom said, I want to go. Dale nodded. I thought you would. Tom told Rena everything that evening. She sat on the bench near the garden, listening quietly. When he finished, she didn't speak at first. Then she said softly, they could be my people. Tom nodded. I hope so. Rena looked at the stars. What if it's not them? What if it's a trap? Tom placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll face it, together. She looked at him. You would come with me. Yes, he said. I won't let you go alone. Rena gave a small smile. Then I'll go. The next morning, a small human ship launched from the colony. Inside were 4 people, Tom, Rena, a pilot named Bren, and a tech officer named Neela. They flew through space toward the quiet moon where the signal had come from. Tom sat beside Rena, watching the stars pass by. Are you scared? He asked. Rena nodded. Yes, but also ready, Tom. The small ship flew silently through space. The moon below was gray and full of sharp rocks. There was no light, no sound, only darkness. Tom sat by the window, his eyes watching the surface. Rena sat beside him, her hands holding the edge of her seat. The others, Bren the pilot and Neela the tech officer, were focused on the controls. There it is, Neela said, pointing to a blinking dot on the screen. That's the ship sending the signal. Bren slowed their speed. No other ships nearby. But something feels wrong. Tom looked at Rena. Are you sure you want to do this? Rena gave a slow nod. If they are my people, I must know. The ship landed gently on the moon. Dust flew up, and the engines went quiet. Everyone geared up. Helmets, light suits, blasters ready. They stepped out onto the cold surface. The stars above were clear, but everything around them was silent. The alien ship was small and damaged. One side was broken, as if hit by something hard. The door was open, but no one came out. Neela scanned it. No signs of movement. Power is low. Life support is weak. They stepped inside carefully. The air was thin. Lights flickered. Tom walked slowly, blaster in hand. Then they saw them, inside a small room, behind a broken wall. We're 3 aliens. They looked like Rena's, same blue hair, same pale skin. But they were weak and sitting on the floor. Eyes half closed, Rena ran forward. It's them. One of the aliens opened his eyes. Rena? He said weakly. Tears filled her eyes. Yes, it's me. Tom helped her kneel beside them. Neela scanned the group. They're alive. Just cold and hungry. Rena held the hand of one woman, whispering soft words in her own language. Tom smiled, but his joy didn't last. Neela suddenly looked at her scanner. Her face turned pale. Something's coming, she said. Fast. Brent spoke over the comm. 2 ships just dropped out of warp. Not human. No ID signals. Tom's heart sank. Hunters, yes. Brent said, they're landing nearby. Tom looked at Rena. We have to move now. They lifted the weak aliens one by one and carried them back to the human ship. It was hard. The gravity was strong, and they had to move fast. As they reached the door, the sky above turned red. A dark ship landed not far away. Its engines roared, and the dust flew everywhere. Figures stepped out, hunters in black armor, weapons in hand. Tom shouted, inside. Go. Rena helped her people into the ship. Neela followed. Tom turned and fired his blaster at the hunters. The beam hit the ground near them, forcing them to spread out. Brent fired the ship's small defense turret, making the ground shake. A few hunters ducked for cover. Tom jumped inside just as the door closed. Lift off, he shouted. Brent pulled the controls. The ship rose fast, engines burning bright. The hunters fired, but the shots bounced off the ship's armor within seconds. They were in space again. Everyone sat down, breathing hard. Tom looked at Rena. She held her people's hands tightly. Her eyes were red, but she smiled. They're safe, she whispered. Tom nodded. You did it. Bren turned. We're not out yet. One hunter ship is following. Tom stood up. How long until they catch us? Not long, Bren said. They're faster. Neela said. We need help, but we're too far from the colony. Tom looked at the shield device Rena had once given him. He pulled it from his belt. This won't stop their ship, he said. But maybe we can trick them. Everyone turned to him. Minutes later, the small human ship turned sharply and slowed down. The hunter ship came closer, ready to fire. But suddenly, the human ship fired a small pod away from itself. The pod looked like an escape capsule. The hunter ship chased the pod, thinking it carried the girl. Brent smiled. It worked. They took the bait. Tom grinned. Let's get out of here. Brent pushed the engines. The ship flew fast, turning toward the colony's signal range. Half an hour later, they crossed into safe space. Human patrol ships met them. The hunter ship never returned. Back at the colony, people cheered when the ship landed. Doctors took Rena's people into care right away. They were weak but alive. Tom stood outside the medical center, watching the sun rise over the wall. Rena walked up beside him. Her face was tired but peaceful. "They are safe," she said. "And so am I." Tom nodded. "You're not alone anymore." She smiled. "Thanks to you." He looked at her. "What will you do now?" "I'll stay," she said. "My people need time. This place is good, and you are here." Tom smiled softly. Commander Dale walked over. "You both did something great. Because of you, we now know where to look. We'll fight back. No more hiding." Tom looked at Rena. "No more running." She took his hand. Together. And as the sun rose higher, the two stood side by side. From the moment Tom ran toward the screams in the forest, everything had changed. He had found a friend, saved lives, and helped light a spark that might change the galaxy. Not because he was a soldier, not because he was a hero, but because he didn't turn away. He ran toward the danger, and in doing so he brought hope.